this computer. Well, welcome everyone to our evening session here on Is Your Club Welcoming? Our presenter tonight is George Mamo, and he co-chairs the district's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. He's Lieutenant Governor-elect for Division 24 and was the founding president of the North Myrtle Beach Little River Kiwanis Club. His Kiwanis experience began with the Key Club in Bowie, Maryland. Prior to retiring to the beach, Mamo held senior management positions with religious, environmental, fraternal, and charitable organizations across the U.S. He was inducted into the Rutgers University Hall of Distinguished Alumni in 2004 and was his club's 2021 Outstanding Kiwanian. He's married to fellow Kiwanian Kay Mamo, and they have one son and twin granddaughters. What an awesome thing, twin granddaughters. Do you have trouble seeing them apart, George?
They're not identical. They could not be more different.
And we have one more participant. I'm going to admit Brian Criswell, and then we'll turn it over to you.
All right.
Welcome, Brian. We're just getting started. So now I'm going to put it on speaker view. And George, take it away.
All right. Oops, I don't have control. Oh, there it is. Okay. Well, you said all that. So let's start out with, where were these guys going? This is interactive here. So can you unmute, folks?
Yeah.
Jennifer, you know where they were going?
They were headed to the witch's castle, I believe.
Wizard.
Someplace much happier
the
than
wizard.
that.
That's right. They were going to the wizard first.
Yep. They're off to the Emerald City. They're off to Oz. And like all of us, they came on a different road. I don't know that any of us, followed a yellow brick road to get to Kiwanis, but we all came here different ways. And they expected, when they got to the Emerald City, this amazing greeting, because they were going to go see the great Oz. But you know what they got instead? This guy. He opens the door and he says, "Go away!" So the question we want to ask our clubs tonight, all of you, is which mat is your club putting out? Are you putting out a welcome mat, like our friends expected to see at the Emerald City? Or are you intentionally, unintentionally, maybe accidentally, saying you're not welcome here? So we have a couple of objectives for tonight. We're going to unpack today's TLA. We're going to provide tools for your club to become more inclusive, more reflective of the community, and more effective in your service to children. And at the end, we're going to try and learn from each other what your clubs are doing, what my clubs are doing, what other clubs that have participated in seminars like this are doing to become more inclusive and more welcoming. So we have to start with, what is a TLA? Those of us of a certain age, this is probably what comes to mind. It's an airline, isn't it? You remember TLA Airlines? No, it's not. TLA is a three-letter acronym for three-letter acronyms. And it's really a shorthand that we use every single day. When you look at this table, we've got ATM, GPS, and actually came up with a TLA for 24 out of the 26 letters of our alphabet. So if anybody can come up with an X or a Z TLA, there's a reward. So we can finish this chart. But it's a shorthand. And it's a shorthand that Kiwanis International loves. And all of our clubs love. Because we have things like CKI. CKI is a TLA for Circle K International. But that's not enough, because CKI is also an SLC, an SLP, a service leadership program. I told you we love these. XYZ and PDQ. Okay. And I have lost control of the screen. There we go. Now, not all TLAs are actually helpful. Douglas Adams is the guy that wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe, which is a very strange book if you haven't read it. And he points out that the World Wide Web is the only thing whose shortened version, www, takes 3 times longer to say than World Wide Web. It's actually 12 syllables instead of 3. Now, that's not true of tonight's acronym, but to make sure we don't wind up like Dilbert's assistant here, who says, I couldn't tell the acronyms from the typos, so I changed them to whatever I felt was right. Let's unpack tonight's TLA, which is DEI. DEI is our shorthand for diversity, equity, and inclusion. So how will DEI help your club? What we've learned is if your club membership or leadership is limited intentionally, unintentionally, to men, to white people, to Christians, Republicans, then you've limited your customer base. And not only have you limited your customer base, you've limited your opportunity and your source for innovation. If your club isn't engaging with and attracting people of color, women, people of diverse faiths, including the fastest growing faith group in America, which is people who have no faith, they're called the nuns, N-O-N-E-S, not the Catholic version, different ethnicities, alternative lifestyles, then you're not benefiting from those people's perspective that's different than yours, that comes from a different view, sees things through a different lens. So why does DEI matter? DEI helps your club move beyond the status quo, will help your club grow, will help your club generate new ideas from new perspectives. DEI will help your club implement more creative and innovative projects with greater mission impact. Bottom line, you're going to help more kids. Unwelcome, it's sometimes blatant. I mean, Kiwanis was an all-boys club until 1987. It took 72 years and a threatened lawsuit by the ACLU to get Kiwanis to include its first woman member. 72 years ago. When I was in Key Club, only high school boys were in Key Club. 35 years later, today, our commitment to DEI, to diversity, equity, and inclusion is more than gender. It's more than race. It's more than religion. But it will bring creative and innovative projects with greater mission impact to your club. Now, unwelcoming can be subtle. Like this guy. You're Hispanic? So where's your sombrero? Or this lady at the grocery store. Wow, for Hispanic, you speak excellent English. Now the rest of this comic strip, which is called Baldo, gives 2 possible responses. One, Baldo is very understanding. He explains to the lady, well, I speak excellent English because I've lived here my whole life. And the other alternative is to look at the woman and say she's an idiot. And then the punchline is choose carefully. But this is what happens. This is a microaggression. So there's a comedian whose tagline is kind of just ask yourself. As you're thinking about your club, ask yourself, does our club secretary have to be a woman? Does our club have that guy that's response when he tells an offensive joke, and it's almost always a guy? Well, you can't take a joke, can you? Or how about the guy that walks in and finds somebody in, that's been my seat for 21 years. Does your club sing songs with a history? Do your club's prayers recognize other religious traditions? If you said yes to some, or maybe all of those, just ask yourself, you're telling some people, go away. You're not welcome here. Hajar was a member of a club in my district for exactly 1 year. She was always late to the meetings. People assumed she came late because she was coming from work, got tied up in Grand Strand traffic. After she didn't renew, Hajar confided in the lieutenant governor that the reason she didn't renew and the reason she was late is she really didn't feel, as a devout Muslim, that she could be there for every prayer that ended in Jesus' name. Kiwanis has changed. That Fayetteville club on the left is not what we look like today. This picture on the right is from an email that we all received exactly 2 weeks ago, welcoming us to the new year and talking about Kiwanis International's focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're a different organization. We have a ways to go. Now, Kiwanis change has not always been fast. Remember how long it took us to admit a woman? In 2008, the convention encouraged all Kiwanis leaders to take action to create a culture and club environment that develops and nurtures mutual respect and celebrates the inclusiveness of our beloved Kiwanis. 11 years later, we got around to amending the bylaws to include language that basically brings us into compliance with the Civil Rights Act, that we shall not discriminate based on race, color, creed, national origin, age, sex, including sexual orientation and gender identity. And as I mentioned a moment ago, 2 weeks ago, on October 4th, we all got this email talking about Kiwanis' commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm going to take the time to read it because it's way more words than you're supposed to have on a PowerPoint slide. At Kiwanis, our mission to serve the children of the world, one child and one community at a time, is reflected in our continuing commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We understand that the children of the world represent a variety of races, ethnicities, religions, abilities, socioeconomic statuses, gender identities, and sexual orientations. Our vision is to be a positive influence in societies worldwide so that one day, regardless of background, all children wake up in communities that believe in them, nurture them, and provide the support that they need to survive. Our mission hasn't changed. The Kiwanis mission is the Kiwanis mission, a global organization of volunteers dedicated to improving the world one child and one community at a time. Our vision hasn't changed. Our vision is that we'll be a positive influence in communities worldwide so that one day all children will wake up in communities that believe in them, nurture them, and provide the support they need to thrive. Community remains at the heart of what we are and who we are and what we do. But the Kiwanis Club should reflect your community, because what we're looking for is people who have that feeling of fellowship, that they have that shared common attitude, interest in helping kids and making the world a better place. So, diverse, inclusive, equitable. What do they really mean? Diversity is the presence of difference within our clubs. Typically, they refer to identity like race and gender, sometimes ethnicity, sometimes religion, sometimes nationality or sexual orientation. It's about a community or a group. Diversity is about your club's membership. A lot of times, at least on TV, you'll hear, well, we have the diversity candidate that we're interviewing this afternoon. Person isn't diverse. We're all unique. Equity? It's an approach that ensures that everyone has access to the same opportunities. It's a process that acknowledges that we have uneven starting places and seeks to correct that imbalance. It's the process that your club engages in, to ensure that people with marginalized identities have the opportunity to join, grow, contribute, and develop. In a lot of ways, it's bringing our vision for communities and kids in communities to our own membership to make sure they have the tools they need. So you look at this picture, we've got 3 people at a ball game. One of them can see great. Little girl looks like the fence is about up to her nose, and the fella in the wheelchair can't see a thing. So equity is giving everybody what they need so they can participate. So the tall guy gives his box to the little girl, and now she can see the game completely. And somebody builds a ramp so the kid in the wheelchair can participate. That's correcting the imbalance, letting everybody have what they need to participate. Okay, so this is another quiz. What did Oz give to the Tin Man?
A heart.
You sure? That's not what the song by Kansas said.
A brain.
Didn't she give him some oil?
Oh,
No. Come on.
It's been a while.
I think he gave him a brain.
Nothing he didn't already have.
oh, see,
I would sing it for y'all, but that would be really torturous. But they gave him what he needed. What he needed was acknowledgement. What he needed was a symbol. He needed something that said, hey, I do have a heart. I have a big heart. And that's equity, helping him get what he needs. Inclusion has to do with people of different identities feeling, and that's a key word, feeling and being valued, leveraged, and welcomed in our clubs. It is not the natural consequence of diversity. You can't look around the room and say, well, we got women here, we got a black guy, we got a guy from India, I think our governor's an American Indian, Native American, so we're good. That's counting. That's not welcoming. That's not valuing. That's not leveraging. You can have that diversity, but not everybody necessarily feels welcomed or valued. So what we do matters so much more than what we say. Diversity is being asked to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance at that party. So here's KI's DEI commitment, again, that came out on October 4th. We, Kiwanis International, commits to increasing diversity and celebrating the range of human differences. Kiwanis Club shall not discriminate based upon race, color, creed, national origin, age, or sex, including sexual orientation and gender identity, when considering membership or during any of their activities or operations. That last sentence sounds familiar. That was adopted many years ago. But the first sentence is the new one. Commitment to increasing diversity and celebrating human differences. Equity. We commit to a policy of opportunity that promotes fairness, impartiality, and non-discriminatory actions for all persons, no matter the criteria. And inclusion. We commit to pursuing efforts to ensure the dignity of all people is recognized, respected, valued, and empowered. I'd say that's 2 weeks old at this point. It's been in development for a couple of years. Have you ever walked up to one of these and done this? And then you move your hands under the faucet and around the faucet, and you realize, oh, it has a handle. We expect almost everything to be automatic now. But joining Kiwanis is not motion activated. You don't wave your hand or wave a wand and then suddenly people are beating down the door to join our club. Joining and staying in Kiwanis is emotionally activated. People join our clubs because they sense that the people like me are already in this room. People that like me, people who welcome me, people who appreciate me are in this room, and I want to be a part of what they are. Everyone Everyone wants to hear and feel these three little words. You belong here. When I presented this at DECON, just about at this point, a Kiwanian from Fayetteville shot up his hand and he said that he just had a good sense, and he said for the first time, of what it felt like, I don't belong here. And he told a story that he was at his daughter's college graduation, and it came time for the invocation, and he was expecting somebody like this to step up, read a Bible passage, invoke a prayer. He was sort of surprised when the guy that led the prayer looked much more like this Buddhist Lama. He recognized in that moment what it feels to be out of place, to feel like I don't belong here. So here's some ideas from other clubs that I think are worth stealing, because I firmly believe there are no new ideas. We just modify what other folks have already done. So a club in North Carolina named a non-Christian member to lead prayer. The guy that was named to lead the prayer was asked by the incoming president if it bothered him that the prayer was always a Christian prayer. He said, no, I'm a Jew that was raised in the South. I'm kind of used to that. But I tell you, I can't invite any of my friends from synagogue to come here to join. Another Tar Heel club has members who have intentionally joined community groups that are focused on diversity, that are focused on inclusion. So they're getting ideas and they're meeting with people who aren't like them. A club in South Carolina, and this is a majority-minority club, has reached out to the local Chamber of Commerce to start attracting racially diverse members to their Kiwanis Club. A 100-year-old club for quite a long time has had a minister, a rabbi, and an imam come in and talk about when our religious holidays converge. Now they're going to make it a community event, which is that club's way of saying, we appreciate diversity. We want to share that with the community. Now, my club is reaching out to leaders in Atlantic Beach. Atlantic Beach is a historically Black community that is completely surrounded by North Myrtle Beach. Not so many years ago, Atlantic Beach was the only place in South Carolina that Black folks could get into the Atlantic Ocean. So we're trying to reach out there. So what's your club doing? This is where you talk.
Well, I can share a little bit about what Columbia is doing. So John is going to be serving as our president this year. So he just took over and he just shared his vision in terms of making sure that we are intentionally focused on starting to reflect our community. Our club is a very traditional white male dominated business 12 o'clock luncheon in a city club. And so I know he has intentionally identified several of his colleagues that attended Leadership Columbia that are real movers and shakers, but come from a diverse background and experiences. And so he's really being intentional about inviting these folks to visit our club and participate with us and make sure that our service projects are reflective of those activities and just really expanding. So I mean, I think just the first thing is just being intentional about saying, hey, we have an opportunity to bring in some new folks. We need to recruit anyway and work on our membership recruitment. We want to identify some different voices within the community that can help us connect and reflect.
Excellent. We'll have to have you loop back to us and say how that goes.
To me, this is one of the most difficult things, most challenging things. I'm with Golden K, Kiwanis in Columbia. We have had quite a number of people of color come in, not only be speakers, but also be our guest and continue to follow up with them. But at some point, I begin to feel like I'm pushing. I'm maybe going, and a couple of these folks are my friends, and I don't want them to think I'm just, but I will express that, you know, we're looking for diversity, and I don't know if I'm going about it the correct way or not. But since they're friends, I can be open enough to say, you know, we really, really would love to have people of color come in and become active members. And so if anybody has a way of approaching this, I'd like to hear it, because I don't want to feel like I'm just pushing at them all the time.
Well, telling somebody that we really want people of color to join our club can really, if you get inside your friend's skin, sound like, oh, you only want me to join because I'm black.
Yeah, and then see, that's what I'm thinking, and I'm thinking like I've just gone the wrong way.
Yeah, I think you have to just approach them the same way, you know, you would bring so much to the club because of your 20 years experience as a social worker in the toughest high school here in Columbia. We need that expertise. You can help us create projects that are going to keep kids out of jail. So appeal to them just like you would any other person, to their strengths and what they would bring to the club, more than, well, we need to look not quite so lily white.
Yeah.
Anybody else have ideas?
Yeah,
Chris?
George, this is Brian from the Sand Hills. I mean, this has been an ongoing challenge. It's like I'm one of 4 or 5 African American members there. You know, I just came off of being president, but you know, it's a trend because if you start at all of our other SLPs, from the K Kids to the Builders to the Key Club to the CKI, there's not a lot of attraction for African American far as participation. I've been trying to work angles with it. I can't understand it, but you talking about starting off with even like a K Kids club, you might have 2 or 3, you know, but and at the same time you go on the Builders Club, and then Key Club is really you can see it there as well. There's not a lot of African American participation. And I'm not sure exactly what that whole problem is or whatever. You know, I don't beat people up. Hey, you need to join Kiwanis, you know what I'm saying? They know they all know what I do and everything like that. I'm not sure if they have the time. I mean, but you know, there's always ways to serve in Kiwanis besides just coming to a luncheon on a Wednesday at noon. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's more ways to get involved if that's your desire. So we just got to figure out what is their desire and try to get them motivated to join.
Well, one of the ways to do that is to get them volunteering before they're a member.
Correct.
Our club works with the food bank of the Low Country, and two months ago, the brothers of Omega Psi Phi were there, and the sisters from Alpha Kappa Alpha were there.
Okay.
And that was a great opportunity for all the Kiwanians to talk to them about what comes next, to talk to them about, oh, do you know that on your campus there's a CKI where you guys can be out here doing stuff like this all the time?
Okay.
So there's an opportunity.
All right.
I guess all of that would be to marry what we talked about last night with regard to education and experience, finding out from potential members some of their past. Mary, are you listening to me?
Mary
Mary's
Winfrey.
not here.
Yeah.
Oh, Mary went away.
Mary is
she
at
never
a
has-
charter celebration this evening, so she wasn't
Oh,
able to join us
okay.
tonight.
I don't know why I thought she was on here, but we talked last night about the importance of knowing what our members' backgrounds are with regard to education and experience, and to try to key in on those areas for how they can participate and be active members. So I'm thinking then by approaching prospective members in one of the first things we do want to learn about them then is to find out what they have done in their past lives. I don't know what they're, and then, like you said, George, let them know that you know what their skills are and their education, and then say to them, we would love to have you as part of the club because of, you're good with computers and technical skills and things like that, or something.
Yeah. You want to recruit people for who they are, for what they bring to the club, not
Right.
for what they look like.
Right. Yeah.
So
Makes perfect sense. Well, I didn't think of that. I do not know. Having been a human resources manager for many years, you'd think I'd know better. I mean, it's to know what skills do you bring to the table.
mhm.
Well, Chris,
Yeah.
I would just like to say I appreciate you asking the question and having the courage to talk about it. Part of this, part of doing diversity, equity, and inclusion is that we aren't always going to get it right, and it's a conversation. And until we start, we just don't know. And we just have to be open to not getting it right, but feeling okay to say, yeah, I'm so sorry I got that wrong. I'm here to learn.
Mhm.
And I hope I do better next time. And if I don't, please let me know.
Yeah, I'm glad. That's why I like coming in on open conversations like this, because I feel like I get some good pointers from it.
Oh, good.
I'm surprised more people don't come.
I think Leah and I are too.
Yeah, this is very awesome that the district continues to provide us with this, the educational experiences, the webinars, the Zoom interactions, because it helps us learn and know. Just like last night, we had 6 people online, and I'm like, where is everybody? So,
Well, we would
Yeah.
love it if you would ask others from your club to join in. Maybe I need to do something like, the club with the most attendees gets a prize or something. I don't know.
Good idea.
I don't know. I'm going to keep plugging away at it.
but and you even want to know, because I do this a lot for events that I do as a literary publicist. To get people involved, you say, well, we're going to have door prizes, or we're going to serve snacks or something like this. But it seems like there'd be, and I don't know why I got off on all this or anything, but to get people to come and participate,
We'll have to figure out how to do snacks on a webinar. That's going to be a challenge.
I think that'll be more difficult, George.
Yeah, maybe we can show a picture of something.
I,
Anybody
I
else?
think if we can get them at those club leadership days, if we can get them there, I think that's the best starting point.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Our Club Excellence Day.
yeah, the Club Excellence Day. Yeah. I mean, you can't make them go. I mean, it's a day, and you try to encourage them to go so that they can help lead, for later. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, if we can just get them there the first time, then I believe we'll have them, especially like the new members that join. We got to get them involved so that they can understand exactly what's going on, so that they can be ready to step in another role, in a year or so, but I don't know. We got to think of something, because the next one is that I think the registration ends October the 30th, correct, Leah?
October 30th, yes, and it's
Yeah.
we have 3 people registered.
Are you serious? Wow.
And we need how many to make it go?
15.
15.
Ooh.
That's kind of disheartening. You know what I'm saying? It really is. And I don't know what to do to change that. I really don't. Wow.
Let's get back to George's presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, correct.
No,
Sorry,
no.
George.
If you have any ideas, feel free to email me your ideas. I'm willing to try anything to make our Club Excellence Days or our free webinars work.
So to tie it in with George's presentation then is that the new members that we do get, we're trying to keep them engaged. And this is the best way to do it, because, like you said, the inclusion part, you don't want to just join something and then show up and then nobody's speaking to them, or they're sitting by themselves. Every time we have our meeting, I make sure that there's no one sitting by themselves. There's no reason why no one should be sitting by themselves, because then they might have that feeling, well, I guess I'm not wanted. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting overlooked. So as a new member, we got their sponsor with them, try to introduce them to other people, especially when having different club activities going on. We try to get them in. We had a new member that just joined last week, and she was at our first one of the fundraisers that we was having, pouring beer and wine for Pinehurst. So she was there and she had a great time. So I think that's the key to it, is getting them involved with the activities that you have as a new member, and keeping them informed on what's going on with your activities.
That's the best way to say, you're welcome. We want you here. So it has to be more than when it gets to be September 1st and you say, wow, how long's it been since we've seen, the guy that came one time and he sat over there, what was his name? We got to get past that. All right, Leah, you're going to have to give me control again. Keeps disappearing.
What do?
You still have control, I promise.
There it goes. Okay. So some next steps, easy next steps. You can take a meeting, discuss DEI, why it's beneficial to your club, and the district can provide somebody from the DEI committee, if you're not too far away, in person, and if not, by Zoom, to help lead that discussion. Get folks talking about it. You could amend your bylaws, add a statement that says something like, at the Kiwanis Club of, insert your name here, all are welcome, no matter your background, skin color, or culture. We know it's important to learn from each other and from different perspectives. We strive to create an environment where you can be yourself. You can put something like this on your club brochure that you hand to people when you're trying to explain who you are. Be right up front. We want you. And for the other side, a virtual or a physical place where members can anonymously, look, if Charlie tells another joke like that, I'm gone. Or on the other side, give praise to somebody who took a positive action. So, which mat is your club putting out? You putting out that welcome mat? You're all welcome, everybody. Or intentionally or unintentionally, is that the one you're putting out? That's really where we want to be at the end of this, is step back and ask. Leah, I guess you can make this available to folks again, because it's interactive for me on my screen, but I don't think it will be on yours. But these are resources that Kiwanis International has just made available, again, 2 weeks ago. Glossary of terms, how to measure inclusion, 3 steps you can take to make your club more inclusive, social identity wheel, and a DEI workshop slide deck, which is not this slide deck. I haven't looked at their slides yet.
Sure, George. I'd be happy to. If you would email me this when you're done, I'll
do it.
include it.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. So that brings us to the end. This is not a TLA because diversity is much more than 3 letters, but it's kind of a handy thing to just think about what it means. Different individuals valuing each other regardless of skin, ideology, talents, or years. That's really what we're looking to be in Kiwanis.
Thank you, George.
Back
Thank
to you and
George.
your cat, Leah.
She wants attention. She wants to be included. Anyone have any other comments or questions for George? If not, I really appreciate you all being here this evening.
Very much.
Great
As
job,
you've-
George. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
As you've already mentioned, we do have a Club Excellence Day coming up in Flat Rock. That's in the Black Mountain, Hendersonville area, Western North Carolina, November 5th, and we need 15 to sign up. So if you're available, please sign up and come. It's only $35. It's on a Saturday. Doors open for registration, coffee and snacks at 8 a.m. We'll start at 9 and end by 3:30 with lunch included. Can't get much better than that with inflation. That $35 bucks, it's a steal. We're also going to have another webinar this quarter for membership chairs. This year we're stepping forward and the district would like to train every club's membership chair. And that is on November 9th. So please have your club membership chair register for that. Or if they can't come and you want to come and take it, that would be great too. And I will do what I just said, and the club that has the most members attend that session will win a prize. So there we have it.
That'd be cool.
So Brian, listening to what Leah was saying about the Club Excellence Days, maybe one way to get new members or current members is to talk about what it means to be a distinguished Kiwanian. And one of the criteria is attending in-person education. And it's an easy one to check off the box.
Okay.
Now, our club, I think, is going to have 2 this year, but we should have a lot more.
Yes, I think that's a great idea, George. You could, when you give your new member a new member packet, you could include the distinguished Kiwanian criteria in the packet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then you start a competition of, well, I got it in my 2nd year. Well, I got it in my 1st year. I've been in 10 years. I've never had it. That works.
Yeah.
And you can get it more than once. You get it for 5 years.
Wow.
We'll give you a little tab.
Good.
Well,
right.
Wonderful. Thank you,
Well, thank you all.
everyone.
Appreciate you being here.
Thank you,
Thank
George.
y'all.
You
Thank
do
you
a
so
great
much.
job.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Have a good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.
Good night.